Hey everybody, welcome to the fourth Simple Emotions podcast. Thank you for all the support you guys showed on the past few. And here today I have Kyle Moody, who he has some very exciting adventures he's like to share with us. And he's only 18, so probably around the same age as you guys as well. He's going to talk about his adventure in general and then the mental health aspect of it and how he navigated through the pretty big challenges he's faced. So
So basically like the second I graduated high school, I like packed up my little CRV, built a bed in the back, put everything I needed in there, just got what I could, like got ready to just drive across the country. And I drove down to North Carolina. I just stayed with friends and stuff, which was fun because I was driving like 2-3 hours a day at most, staying at a friend's house, doing the same thing the next day, jumping to like skate parks where I could. And then I was in like North Carolina for like 2 weeks, had like a campsite, and I was there for a scootering competition, which was fun. It was like being able to stay in like one spot for a long time is nice because you kind of adapt, you get used to it. It doesn't feel like you're constantly moving, which is fun because you get to see so much. But it does get draining, being like jumping one spot to another, and you can't like get used to anything, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But as soon as that competition ended, I got in my car and just drove west. And I don't know, I didn't have any set plan other than like I want to get to San Diego, I guess. Go west. That's basically my thought. And which was really fun. I drove as far as I could the first couple days because it was just, I don't know, it's a weird part of the country where there's not much going on. Like there is if I stopped and like found it, but it wasn't like cool, like crazy landscapes. It was just like, I don't know, normal stuff.
Yeah.
So I remember I got to Texas and I was just, someone I knew from Instagram asked if I wanted to go skate park. And I was there and he's like, "Oh, where are you sleeping tonight?" I was like, some random like pull off on the other side of the road, maybe. I don't know. It's what I told him. This is Texas in the middle of summer, so it was really hot. So he was like, "Yeah, you can just stay at my house." I was like, "All right,
There we go."
That'll work. I stayed at his house, and he ended up offering another night there, so I could go wakeboarding with him the next day.
Oh, that's sick.
And in like the middle of Texas too, which is so random. And of course I said yes because like I don't know, it's just good to be spontaneous.
Yeah.
And so that was a lot of fun. And I didn't have like as loose of a schedule as I wanted. I had to be back in Pennsylvania to work at Woodward, this like summer camp for scootering. So I had to be back there in like 3 weeks from that day. So I just kept moving. I remember I went to Albuquerque, saw the Breaking Bad stuff, all the houses. And after that, it was just like jumping place to place to place, which is fun. But I remember being in Albuquerque and I was like, yeah, this is kind of a sketchy town. Like it follows suit. And so I decided to go down to White Sands National Park earlier than I thought. I was planning on going there. And I realized I was able to like catch the sunset there too.
Oh, that's nice.
Which I was really happy about. So I drove down there. Really cool drive because it was like, it wasn't the like main highways that I was driving that whole like trip. I got onto it was still like a highway, but it was more like a back road highway, if that makes sense. Just through the desert, middle of nowhere, which was really cool. And I remember getting to White Sands and it was the I did this moment. Like I made it to, I don't know, just like this unreal landscape.
Yeah.
And I ended up catching like the best sunset I've ever seen in my life there, which was really awesome. And I don't know, that was like the peak of that trip, I guess, in my opinion. Or one of the peaks. It's hard to pick one thing that's the best. But after that, camped the night, went back, and here's stupid thing number one that I did. I get to White Sands National Park, middle of the desert, middle of the summer, like sand dunes everywhere. And there was this like chill hike around the like park. And I was like, oh, it'll be easy. It's like 5 miles. It's a loop. And like when you're walking in the sand, it's just nice to like be barefoot. So I kind of went with that. I was like, okay, I I can do this barefoot. Also, just had like a backpack. I had my shoes in there, which was like smart.
Yeah.
But I had the backpack, and I remember walking like maybe 100 feet from the car where I could still see it, and I'm like, wow, I don't have sunscreen.
Uh-oh.
And I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna turn back. Like, what's gonna go wrong? Like, it doesn't really matter. Ended up getting the worst tan lines of my life. Just backpack straps right here, which is that was a funny one, I guess. But 5 miles was not nice barefoot. Regardless if I had like shoes and it was like sand, it was my thought in my head was if I put my shoes on now, like it's just gonna be sand all on my shoes, and that would be also uncomfortable.
Was the sand like really hot or no? Was it fine?
It was pretty hot, and it wasn't even that was the problem. It was like when you're on top of the sand dunes, it's like kind of soft sand, and you don't like some spots your foot will break through. It reminds me of like snow here. Like when you're younger and you could walk on top of the snow sometimes, but then you break through every now and then.
Yeah.
That's what the sand was like. But when you got down to the like valleys of the dunes, it was just these like hard like crusted sand, and it like hurt to walk on because with the wind it would like create these like jagged things like that, and like you would step on it, it would be kind of sharp. But whatever. I pushed through that hike, got back, was very excited to see the car. Definitely a little stupid not to wear shoes or wear sunscreen. But we made it. It wasn't life-threatening. But after that, just jumping to like skate parks. It wasn't anything that crazy eventful that happened. But I found myself in Phoenix, Arizona. And I was like, oh, I'll stay late because I was just having a good time at the skate park. And so I decided to drive. And by the way, I have no idea where I'm going to stay. Like, most nights I didn't really know where I was going to stay. Also kind of stupid, but you learn from your mistakes.
Yeah.
So I found the spot. It was like near Yuma, California, and it was like this hot spring. So I was like, okay, that's cool. I'm gonna go like check out the hot spring. Get there, super exhausted because I'm trying to make it to San Diego, and it was like a nice halfway point from Phoenix to San Diego. And I get to this hot spring, I pull in, and then there's this car like leaving the spot that because I use this app that just like tells me for free campsites. And so I pull in, and there's this car leaving. I was like, oh, that's kind of weird because it's 1 a.m. at this point.
Yeah.
It's definitely a little weird. So I go down. I only have my phone on me, like phone keys. That's about it. No, I have like mace. I have like a knife. I didn't bring any of it with me. And I walk down to the hot spring, and it's just like, it's kind of like hot tub with like natural hot spring water running in it. And I feel the water. I'm kind of looking around. It's like this little fenced-in area. And it's in the middle of the desert, but there's like vegetation around because it's a hot spring, which is not what I was used to because you could just see forever from what I was used to out there. And I like shine my flashlight at the sign to read it, and my back's turned to like the like whole hot spring area, I guess. And then I hear, right? And I turn around with my phone flashlight. That's it. And I turn around, and I just see this homeless guy in just his boxers 10 feet from me at like 1 a.m. I'm like, so I started sprinting back to my car, and I remember I had like my favorite hat on at the time, flew off my head. I was like, no, not grabbing that.
Hey, you gave him a nice hat now.
Yeah, exactly. A Killington, Vermont hat in the middle of California. And ran away, got in the car, and I was like tired getting to that campsite too. I was like, damn, I need to sleep. And I get to the car, and I'm like, get my keys in as fast as I can, just get in and drive right away. And I remember driving down the road, just trying to find somewhere to park to like just think about what just happened. And I remember driving down the road, and I see the same car that was pulling out of that spot just like parked on the side of the road too. So I'm guessing the same thing happened to them. And so that wasn't fun, which is another thing that I've learned. Get to your campsites during daytime, during light hours, because would not like that to happen again. And scared me a bit. But I ended up driving to this like beautiful spot more towards like San Diego. It was like an hour from San Diego at that point, and it was just this nice like well, you're on like a ridge line, and you can look down to the valleys on both sides. It's pretty cool. But that was an interesting night. Didn't get to sleep until like 3 a.m.
It was
that
very
night.
spooky.
Yeah, that one scared me a little bit, but I don't know. I feel like everything that happens you can always like learn from.
Yeah.
Cause that one, get to your campsites during daytime hours, like before the sun sets, and then the White Sands one where I walked without sunscreen and shoes. Be more prepared, which I should have kept in mind for like later in the whole traveling thing, but it happens. And so like I got to San Diego, and I have like a bunch of friends from that area just through like the scootering scene. So I was gonna stay with one of them that night. Like I got there and like went to the skate park with all of them, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go to Sunset Cliffs, this like beautiful like place to watch the sunset in San Diego. So I went there just by myself, and I was gonna meet back up at his house later, and he was like an hour from that spot. And I was there, and I'm just like by myself walking around the beach, or like the cliffs area, because it's like cliffs and then down below is the beach. And I remember I'm like walking around, and I see these girls just staring into like one of the tide pools, and I walk over. I was like, what are you guys doing? And there's like crabs in there, so I sat there for like an hour just like catching crabs with them while like the sun was setting, and that was really fun. They ended up leaving, and I was like, all right, I kind of just started walking around the beach more, and at this point the sun's like set, and then like you could see like a few people setting up like beach fires, which was I don't know, I've never like had a beach fire, so I was like, oh, I should just go ask someone to join, like what could go wrong. And I walk up to this like group of kids my age, and I'm 17 at this point. Like I had no right to be driving around the country in the back of my car, because couldn't get into a hotel, couldn't do any of these things that if like something did go wrong, like I was like just stuck. But anyway, I go I see this group of people at the fire. I kind of walk up. I was like, you guys mind if I join for the fire? And they said yes. Sat down with them. They offered me s'mores. Just sat around by the fire for way longer than I should have, because I told my friend I was gonna be there for like an hour max. And sat with them. They were really cool people. Definitely like surf town people, you could tell.
Yeah.
Just hanging out, having s'mores, like talking just about the whole trip, I guess, because I feel like people are interested in it when they actually meet someone doing the traveling thing. And one of them ended up inviting me to their grad party the next day. And I was like, okay, that works. I'll do that. I wasn't planning on staying that like much later. I figured why not, like won't hurt. So we all left. I go back up to the parking lot, and my car is locked in to the parking lot. So I remember the people I was with, because they were all like locals in the area.
Yeah.
One of them brought over like an axe to try to cut the gate. And I was like, yeah, that's probably not a good idea, because they're going to see my license plate on that. And so I decided to just call the number, and I got let out by someone. I gave him like $20 just because I was like,
nice.
It's like, don't ticket me at least.
Yeah.
I was like I don't know. And I'm sure they had to wake up to like go get me. So I sent him like $20, and I ended up getting out of there at like midnight. So I sat in that parking lot for like 2 hours. I mean, when I'm stuck in a parking lot, I have food. I have I have everything I need, because I'm like living out of my car at that point. So it's not the worst thing in the world. It was just, you don't want to get ticketed.
Yeah.
Like if I did spend the night there and like wake up to like someone being like, hey, why'd you sleep here? Here's a fine. Didn't want that to happen. But I ended up driving to my friend's house, explaining the whole situation. He's like, yeah, it's fine, whatever. He got it. But the next day I remember, because I went back down, because I was going to that grad party for them, and I had to like thrift clothes for because it was a like beach themed thing, like Hawaiian shirts, like just that kind of outfit. And I remember just going to like a thrift store there and like grabbing like a button down like kind of Hawaiian shirt, not that Hawaiian, but it worked, and just thrifting clothes for it. I got this necklace that I have on, just cool, like that bracelet, just got that day, and grabbed that, went to that party, and it was actually pretty fun. Like, it, for not knowing anybody, like definitely pushing like comfort zones, which is like the best thing you can do for yourself, I think, because you don't grow in your comfort zone really. And that's something that like traveling has taught me the most. Like if you're stuck in this routine, there's not much growth going on there. If you step outside of your routine and do something new that you're not used to, that's where you learn from like mistakes. That's a big one. You learn a lot from mistakes. But you just learn from like everything that you do. And so I don't know, it was stepping outside of my comfort zone going to that party. And I knew like a few people, like the ones I met at the fire, but not many, because it's just this big group of people that have like grown up together, and I'm like just
walking in, hey, can I join your fire?
Literally. And everybody would like ask me like who are you, like why are you here? And I was like, yeah, I met them at a fire last night. I'm from Massachusetts, not from California. And everybody seemed to be like excited about the story and listen to the story.
That's cool.
Like they loved it. And I don't know, it was really fun. And I remember they were like, hey, we're going to the beach tomorrow, like if you want to come, you can. Like, I was like, okay, but I don't really have like a place to stay tonight, is kind of what I said. And this girl, I was talking to her for 5 minutes. She's like, you can stay at my house. I was like,
there you go.
I was like, all right,
look at you go.
It's like, yeah, might as well. Like they're all like good people. Like it wasn't like it didn't worry me or anything.
Yeah,
like I understand, like they're good people. But I was talking to her for 5 minutes.
That's kind of crazy.
It was a little crazy. It caught me by surprise.
Now, just stereotypically, how were her parents?
Did not meet them. I don't think they knew I spent the night there.
That's crazy. It's like, obviously it's not like you're sliding in there. You
Yeah.
need somewhere to sleep, but
Yeah.
like that's so funny.
I know. But yeah, I spent the night there, and I remember like at the party that night, I had to like follow her around to make sure like I didn't like completely lose her. You know what I mean? Because she mentioned like going to this other thing that was going on that night, and I ended up going with her to that. It was like, I don't know, it was just some like smaller like get together thing, which was pretty chill. Went there, listened to all the California drama that doesn't mean anything to me. And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Just from going up to like asking someone to join a random campfire at the beach, I ended up like going to a grad party, going to like this other party, meeting like, I had to have met like 100 new people that like within that like little time span. And I don't know, the next day got up early. I remember we went to go pick her brother up from like some lifeguard training thing, which is so funny because I'm just this random dude riding around in her 4Runner going to pick up her like how old was he, like 10-year-old brother. Like it's just like, how do I get myself into these like situations? But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Went to the beach. I learned to surf for the first time. I tried. Just got out there. I barely got up. It's cold. It was worth a shot though. It was cool to be able to like try to do that.
Yeah.
And I don't know, that was definitely a good part of my trip, because it like taught me like that traveling is great by yourself, but you need to share like these experiences with other people to like enjoy them more. Like you can do things by yourself to an extent, but just having company and like doing things with other people is refreshing after being alone for quite a bit, you know? And I mean, that trip I wasn't by myself that often because I was staying at friends' houses where I could.
Yeah.
But once I got to like the Arizona, New Mexico area, there was just no one to stay out with. I would park kind of where we're parked now, but obviously desert, and just like sleep in the car, pack up in the morning, drive out, just like by myself. And I don't know, it was fun, but having people around is nice.
Yeah.
And yeah, after that beach day, I drove to Joshua Tree, spent the night there. Apparently the stars are really good there. It was a full moon, so I didn't get to see the stars that well. But I drove around in the morning just to like see the national park. I didn't have that much time. I had to get moving because what I learned from that trip is you can't have that much of a time frame to be stuck to. You have to like, because like things happen. Like, do you want to go to a grad party? Yeah, like like you have to have these extra days to like mess around with. You can plan something, but you can't always stick to that plan.
Yeah.
That's where things get draining. Like you just miss out on so many opportunities.
Yeah.
Because I was only planning on staying in San Diego for one night, and I ended up staying for 2. like almost 3 because I was there late, like the next day. But drove to Joshua Tree, spent the night, drove out of there, and I was driving. I was headed to Lake Havasu, and that's where I got in a car accident.
Oh no.
Which was not my fault. It was like a 2-way highway. Someone was trying to pass like another car, and they were like in my lane coming at me, and I like saw that. I was like, I need to like do something about this. So I like drove off into the ditch, which it's not much of a ditch. Like the roads around here, like there would be trees everywhere, and, like, guardrails, all this, but it was just like sand, desert. So I was like, it definitely didn't feel as scary driving off on the side of the road, but obviously like you don't know how soft the sand is.
Yeah.
But slowed down, drove off there, and I just remember driving off the side of the road, and then just you feel like the impact. You don't like car accidents are weird. You kind of feel it. I remember my ear was ringing because the side airbag hit me here, and no one was hurt in the accident. Like, thank God. That would have been a lot worse. And it got a little scratch from the airbag. That's all that happened. And
Where did he hit you head on or from
the side, like the passenger like rear wheel, that area. And my car looked fine, honestly, but the airbags went off. Popped my tire just from like the impact, and I was obviously stuck in a ditch as well. Like, because the sand is like soft, you can't really just drive out of there.
Yeah.
But I remember, like, obviously that sucks a lot because everything I owned for like out there, because when I go on trips, everything I own is what I have with me because I'm gone for like a decent bit of time. It's just like what I'm living off of. So at this point, everything I own is just stuck with me. The car barely drives, and I was just like, I was stuck in the middle of the desert. I was near Needles, California, if anyone listening is familiar with that area. I was about an hour from there, but there's nothing in that area, just desert. And I was next to the Colorado River, like probably maybe a mile off the highway. So, something.
Yeah. How long were you there for, like in general?
Like on the side of the road?
Yeah.
Probably for like 4 or 5 hours, because cops came, police report.
Yeah.
Tow truck, which is funny because I was just, while I'm waiting for everything, I just like got like a jack under my car, lifted it up, changed the tire. And I remember I took out everything that I had in the back, which meant like taking out my bed. My bed was just sitting in the middle of the desert as I'm changing my tire. And changed my tire, I have the spare on. And when the tow truck guy comes, he tows me out, but I'm like just steering, and like once I got out of the sand, it drove, but my alignment was like this, and I'm driving straight, which was pretty funny, I guess. I thought it was kind of funny. I'm just like, I'm driving this car that I just got in a car accident with, like, and like the police officer was like, yeah, you can drive to this town. They have like a Honda dealership, because I was driving a Honda. And it was just something, like somewhere to go. Because at that point, like, where do you go? Like, what do you do?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that works. I drove to that Honda dealership. And there wasn't much there for me. But I remember during that car accident, it wasn't like, I don't think any time while sitting at the site, I was like, wow, this just, like, I understood that the trip was over. Like, I had to pack up my stuff and go home, and that there was like oncoming stress. But I remember there's this picture of me in my car, and I just had my like arm out taking a picture with the airbag like all blown out, and I'm sitting there doing this, like smiling, like biggest smile ever. And it's just so funny to me that from this like horrible situation that like I didn't take it as bad as I maybe should have.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, it's a weird thing. Like, it's good to take things, I guess, with a grain of salt, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it was like a serious situation, and definitely life-threatening, like when because almost head on. But I don't know, I was grateful that no one was hurt, which is
that's
positive. Good. I was able to drive out of there somehow. Very sketchy. Seatbelts didn't work, airbag didn't work. Well, obviously airbags didn't work. Alignment, just so much going on. But I drove out of there, and I don't know, everything it could have been a lot worse because it was almost head on. So
Yeah.
it's great that it wasn't, because that would have been a whole different problem.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not a problem at all for me. But yeah, it was difficult from there, because I think once I got to that town and got to like that Honda dealership, it was, where did I go? I went to Kingman, Arizona, which accident was in California, across state lines to go somewhere to get it fixed. But I get there and I get to the Honda dealership, and just everything starts like setting into my mind, like, wow, I'm like stuck. I can't, like, what do I do in this situation? I'm 17, can't check into any hotel. Car that barely drives. Everything I own is in this car. I can't fly back with this stuff. Like, what do I do with my car? Because I need, like, it's not going to drive back across the country.
Yeah.
And there was just like so many thoughts like circling in my head, like trying to figure out what to do with myself in that situation. And it was like, I drove around where I could, and every day was going to like automotive shop to automotive shop, like bouncing everywhere, trying to figure out what the best thing was to do. And anyway, decided that the best thing to do was to drop the car off at some shop where they could hold on to it and fix it if it needed to be, or total it if it decided to be totaled, which it ended up getting totaled. But found a shop that would do that in Phoenix. So I had to drive from Kingman to Phoenix, which is like another 2 hours. But I needed to fly out of Phoenix as well. So I drove to Phoenix, bought a storage locker. And so the bed from that car is in the storage locker, the ski box, just like a bunch of random stuff that didn't need to be flown home with me, or it was too big to ship.
Yeah.
So I put all that in the storage locker. And from there, I drove to like a UPS store, FedEx, I forget what I shipped it through. It was whatever was closest to a hotel my mom got me in, actually, just by calling in. Just be like, my son's trapped, like, help, he needs somewhere to stay. And so I got to like the FedEx store. I paid like $600 to ship everything back, which is crazy. But then whatever I was left with was like a suitcase of my stuff that I had to buy, just whatever bags I could put everything in. And I remember walking into the airport with a suitcase, a hiking backpack filled, a duffel bag, and like one other backpack, and just like, I'm just stuffed with everything. And just did what I can and flew home. But it was definitely stressful, and it, like,
Definitely.
not the, like, I was completely fine during the car accident. Like, nothing, like, my mind wasn't like going to like, oh, what am I gonna have to do? It was only thinking of what's next, like, or not what's next, it was only thinking of the moment that was happening.
Yeah.
Which is a good way to like keep your mind, because if you think about only what's happening right now, then what's happening like ahead it's not your problem at that second. Like,
Yeah.
just stay in the moment, and that's what I found like a really good way to think, and it keeps you sane, honestly. Because if you start thinking about the future, then that's where you get stressed out and things start to happen. And everyone's done it. I do it, like,
Yeah.
but when I had to deal with it, I dealt with it, and that's where it became difficult. And I don't know, once I figured it out, packed up all my stuff and flew home, that's where I was like stressed up here, and then it just like dropped down, because I'm like, I'm home, I have my stuff, like, stuff is getting shipped back. And right away I was headed to that summer camp to work there. And ended up having a good time, didn't really have to think about
That's good.
all the insurance stuff. My parents took care of that for me, which is awesome. Difficult because it was an accident in a whole nother state. You know,
Yeah.
super complicated, and I'm thankful that I didn't have to deal with that too much. But yeah, that was the road trip story as a whole, which
That's incredible.
yeah, it was taught me a lot from that story.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
And I feel like with the car accident especially, is like, it's very easy to worry about things that are out of your control. Like, obviously you're gonna worry about a car accident.
Yeah.
Like, duh. But like, none of that was your fault. You just got some jackass driving on the other side of the road.
Exactly.
And then like I don't know many kids that would be able to handle that like as well as you did. Like I'm sure it was hard and like everyone probably made mistakes and you
Yeah.
probably didn't actually know what you're doing because no one would.
Yeah,
But it's impressive that you got mostly everything in line for you to get back home and have what you need.
yeah. On Monday of next week, I'm driving to Arizona to deal with that storage locker, but I'm taking it as a fun trip in the van that I'm working on finishing before I leave.
You're gonna drive back on the highway?
Yeah, I think I might.
Take a picture right there?
Yep. No, I might try to figure out where it was.
What skills would you say, or what did you do to make that process like quote unquote easier? Like try to, obviously you're gonna be stressed no matter what, but try to keep it under control and kind of like stay focused to what you needed to do.
So obviously like every day I had to do things. I had to like go check out automotive shops. Like there was stuff that needed to be done each day. But if I just stuck to doing that each day, like I don't know, it becomes draining because that's all you're focused on. So I would like do things that would also be fun for me. I remember I went to I don't know the name of it. It's like Poteau Peak or something in Phoenix, and I did this like awesome hike for sunset. It was like on July 3rd or something, right before my flight because I flew home or no, maybe I flew home on the 3rd. It was like right around that area. It was July 4th weekend, and I remember just getting up on the peak and you could like faintly see fireworks in the distance. And yes, I was stressed trying to figure out this whole like car situation, but I still did what I wanted to do while I was out there and adapted and still had what fun
like having a good balance of things.
Yeah,
like
it's important to find balance.
Yeah, with anything because like obviously your story is so like unique and hopefully not many people will have to go through it.
Yeah, it's I'd like to meet someone that has gone through
that would be interesting.
Yeah.
But like even with like school or like a job, like you're gonna be so revved up about one thing, like a test or like something really important you need to do in work. And then
it's just important to take or to live in the moment. Just focus on what's happening right that instant. If you start looking so far into the future, that's where you become stressed and start to worry about things, I guess.
And then like the future, sure, it's in your control with like the steps you make now, but a lot of it isn't. And like you've been saying in the moment and not worrying about things that are out of your control.
Yeah.
It's like obviously it's a lot harder than doing that.
Yeah.
But once you got that down in any way that you can, worrying about stuff and like for me like my anxiety is a lot easier to deal with when I have spurts. And I feel like
something to like take your mind off things. It's important to find balance is really what it is finding something that you can kind of escape, like a healthy escape from everything.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's important to find what you like to do.
Definitely.
And like things can change and you have to adapt. Like for you, like you had to adapt from not being able to, was it hockey? Yeah, it's hard to adapt. But once you find something that you're like passionate about, it's easy to completely focus on that and stick with that. And that's where life becomes like fun.
Yeah. And like I think one of the most impressive things that you done as well is just like the way you interacted with people, because like even though if I was in California, I'm by myself, I'm not doing anything, I'm probably never gonna see half these people again if they say no.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have the balls to go, hey guys.
That like, was a tough one. I remember walking back and forth a couple times. I'm like, I really want to have a fireman at the beach right now. Like, it's really cool. But you don't grow in your comfort zone. So you just have to step out of it and do what makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Have you heard of like the Seek Discomfort guys on YouTube?
No.
They have like it's called like Yes Theory maybe. Have you heard of that? Cool YouTube channel. Their whole thing's about just seeking discomfort, and I don't know, they're pretty cool. So check them out if you want to. I don't know. I've learned a lot to step outside of my comfort zone. Yeah,
and then the more you do it, obviously, the more comfortable you'll get. And like next time you find yourself alone in California, you'll be able to just walk right over there.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. It's connections are a big thing.
Yeah.
Like you were saying. I don't know.
Well, as we wrap up, do you have anything else you'd like to share or like closing remarks?
Live in the moment, I guess.
Yeah.
Just do what makes you happy.
There we go.
Yep.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed Kyle's like really incredible story and how he's sitting here today. And thank you for sharing it with us. I hope you guys got a little bit of the mental health aspect out of it as well, and can take his experiences and even apply them to yours, whether they're crazy or little. You can really connect things in your own way to make you realize like different coping mechanisms you can use or different ways you can improve in your mental health. I say this after every video, and I really do apologize, but it's cliche, so I have to. If you could please click the red subscribe button, and then if you really care, turn post notifications on so you can hear cool stories just like this one, but I think it'll be really hard to top, or at least for a little bit.
I could always come back and tell the Seattle story.
Oh,
too.
yeah, there we go. Well,
forgot how long the car accident story was.
well, thank you guys, and I hope you have a good day.